Hi, everybody. This is Bryson Meter Hardy, DOC number 432-675 with the Iowa Incarcerated Workers. Again, part three to the Reentry Challenges podcast that me and Mr. Family Business over here have been put together for y'all.
Yes, once again, my name is Lawrence Walter Hardy. Former DIN number is 03 Alpha 1400. And once again, I'm uh, ecstatic to be here to discuss the essential topics regarding reentry and integration. So Amir, the topic for today is what?
But today, is a special day. I think it's very special just because it's Super Bowl Sunday. I'm not a Seahawks fan, but go Seahawks. Got to represent the whole town right now. And we're really going to be talking about mental health awareness. Funny that we're talking about this. I just had a mental health appointment on Friday, and guess what? The person didn't show up.
Wow.
So it's very interesting that, being in a situation to where you're incarcerated for long periods of time, and then all of a sudden you're expected to re-enter society as just like a normal functioning human being. Re-entry has a lot to do with whether you're mentally sound, you're mentally stable, and mental health. People are just now getting to realizing it's a very key component because without keeping your mind healthy, you're unable to think those positive thoughts, strategize, come up with those plans that are necessary to be done to be able to sustain a positive living.
Yes, I definitely agree with that. As far as your mental health, self-preservation awareness definitely needs to be uh, shone a light and educated on for each individual because it's a key. I think it's a key components of it. Because I believe because I was doing some reading and I think as of 2026, I think like it's stated like approximately like 20% of people in state prisons and maybe like 40 or 44 or something marginal like that um in jails have a history of mental illness. And and of course the rates probably are higher or getting higher every year or depending on each state, but uh it's something that definitely needs to pay more attention to. But the one I believe one of the core challenges I think you were shed a light on is like prisons are fundamentally designed for security, not therapy. So that alone creates like a natural friction for mental health care. Would you agree to that?
Yes, I would. You know, I want to give the viewers some insight into a little bit of me because I'm pretty sure they're thinking like, who is this guy? This guy keeps coming on the podcast talking about reentry challenges, but I had a brain injury, a traumatic brain injury at the age of 18. So me not understanding the neurological science behind a traumatic brain injury and the effects that it has on the individual, I'm still finding out some of the challenges that I have to face that may be more difficult for me to overcome than someone who hasn't had a brain injury. So when you're talking about the system and how rehabilitation is for mental health, I would strongly agree. There's not a lot of services that are provided in here for people to partake in to help with mental health, to get past some of the challenges a lot of us are facing.
That is so that's definitely quite like an obstacle as far as they would say, like if for you to even move forward to take that first step or even reach or try to accomplish any of your goals, that right there, what you just stated, definitely would be like a stumbling block, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's easy for me to say like I'm unshakable. I'm the rock. I'm the cornerstone. As Jesus. I'm quote Jesus. So just bear with me. As Jesus said, I'm the cornerstone. Nothing can shake me. I'm here to do what I do, and boom, boom, boom. It's easy for us to say that. It's easy for us to be shooting the shit with each other in the day room and on the yard, and be talking the talk. Spitting the game. But then at the end of the day, we got to be real with each other, and we have professional problems. And as I heard from a brother on his own podcast, we need professional help. And without professional help, we're unable to understand or even grasp the problems that we have.
I believe that is, yeah, that is true. So let me ask you this: as far as the solely where you're at right now, are there any support group or any type of men's health type programs established or created by the DOC?
So the DOC has things such as a substance abuse program, a Thinking for a Change program. And these things, I believe Thinking for a Change is one of the programs that's evidence-based and recognized around the state as far as DOC. But these classes are classes that people take when they're 2 or 3 years to the gate. So for people and myself in this situation, and I know you can add on this, I got sentenced to 35 years, 420 months. I've only done 6 years of that. I have 29 to go. So until I get down to the last, say, 27 years, there is no DOC established mental health programs for me to participate
Yeah, I definitely I can testify to what you're saying because I've also experienced it because I've been on that side of the wall. I've done close to 20 years incarcerated, and I see exactly what you're saying. A lot of the what they call like base support programs, mandated programs, you definitely would have to. You're only eligible to take when you're 2, 3 years out, and that's only if there's room for you. If there's not, then you have to be on some waiting list. So the options of some of these programs that the DLC you created um, really wouldn't be of eligible or essential options because they're so far off. So as a community, I would say like a general population community, um, as incarcerated individuals, were there ever any discussions since you've been incarcerated as far as creating certain programs of your own, like support groups or any programs of your own to try and get uh, the mental health awareness out to the general population?
Yeah, there's always talk, and there are a couple of classes that are peer-led classes. I can't think of them at the top of my head. I've dibbled and dabbled. I'm there to support and see and check it out and everything. But as far as being sponsored and supported by mental health professionals, we don't have that right now. We don't have people that are coming to the prison out of their own free time with factual information, proven like, hey, look, this is what you need to do in order to do this and this and this. Now, it's interesting that we're on this topic. There's a class I just got into. I don't believe there's a name to it, but it's a book. It's a book club, and the teacher for our class is a volunteer, and we're reading a book called The Myth of Normal:
Mm.
Trauma, Illness, and Healing in a Toxic Culture. The author is gave her Mate with it's a doctor, MD. So I'm only about 2 chapters in, but that's a substitute for, I believe, something that we should already be way more in depth with. Yeah, we need more support. Doctors, mental health specialists, things like that.
Are you saying when you said more help from or assistance from, that's on the inside, correct?
Yeah, just because there's so many people who have these levels of education that are able to, you know, kind of guide us and direct us. I believe it's a well-known saying, you know, if you build a house, the people will come.
That's true.
We're in here, we're learning all these business traits and how to organize, run classes, do it in the proper way. But if we don't have the guidance and the support, you know, the house is like that straw house where the wolf can just blow it down. And what are we going to do then?
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there, and like I said, it's a shame because there are certain organizations and agencies. One I could think of off the top of my head, I think it's like NCCHC. I think it's the National Commission of Correctional for Healthcare, and I believe because I was reading something. I think it was something new this year they established as far as well they update I think their standards on clinical accountability, you know, as far as stricter suicide prevention protocols and pay more close attention to the individual receiving of care, you know, inside the correctional facilities, but well, I mean outside of correctional facilities, meaning that when an individual gets released back into society, you know, whether they have mental health problems or issues, anything like that, or care needs care, is called the Healthcare Act, the Reentry System Act, is where they help the funding for mental health screening. You know, when they do the intakes to help individuals with medication, programming, so on and so forth. But as you said, as you mentioned earlier, why would you have to wait all this time till you get released to finally get hair? I mean, care um, provided by the government or the state, but not prior to you going out. You know, so it's definitely, like you said, it's definitely, I definitely believe it's needed on inside. I know when I was incarcerated, we were aware of this and we pulled together, wrote a lot of to outside agencies and basically set up our own support groups. And one thing I loved about the like support groups, we you know, sat in a circle and we did a check-in with everybody. And if one person, that's how everybody's day was going, how week was going, so on and so forth, anything they're going through. Now, if one person had something issue and said they wasn't doing too good, we stopped immediately. We didn't go to the next person as of yet. We stopped immediately. We asked what was going on. Everybody gave their advice or and see how they could help out in certain ways. And then, you know, we continued on. And certain things like that, um, believe me, it'll go a long way as far as as far as individuals being incarcerated or even outside of, you know, outside of the wall. But it's certain things like that I believe that DOC and just all of us all around just needs to pay attention to and just help support in different ways.
I can agree with you on so many levels. I see a beautiful thing that we as formerly incarcerated and currently incarcerated people can do just by pulling together and supporting each other's programs. So far to say, it really starts with us because, as we both know, the DOC, they can care less if we're mentally sane or not. They're still collecting a paycheck as long as we're taking up cell room or cell block in the penitentiary system. So that being said, yeah, this might have to be the start to a class, a curriculum, some type of thing that could be put together for this issue to be addressed not to say it could be recognized on the DOT level, evidence based. Hopefully, that can be the end goal. But at the beginning, I believe just starting something to where people have an alternative, because currently I trip every day. I mean, to be honest with you, with the staff, with an inmate, maybe with a teacher, and it's over small and little things. And I've been told multiple times by many people, like, man, you're like about to explode over these little things. And
Huh.
it takes me a lot to try to understand and be able to recognize this, because they're like, well, you got to look at it from the outside perspective. You're incarcerated. You're a what do we call that? Like, not to stereotype, but it's a stereotypical situation. You're a black man. You're out here being angry. You know, when you come and approach people and they feel the anger and maybe the testosterone, it's intimidating. So taking that into account, it's kind of like, well, how am I supposed to suppress how I feel about situations where I'm angry? Because from my standpoint, I'm able to vocally express myself in a non-aggressive way. But I guess based on the mental health level, I don't see that.
No, once again, I definitely can identify and relate. Couple things you were talking about. I was about to say amen, really, because as you said, as far as an individual serving time, you're in either a metal box, concrete box, you know, lack of privacy, uh, you're being desensitized, dehumanized. Like there's so many triggers. There's like a worsened experiencing psychotic symptoms. Like you know, this like you're saying, you're not even dealing with others as far as the others individuals incarcerated, but you're dealing with your own problems. You're dealing with COs. You're dealing with staff. You know, and then you're dealing with problems, family problems, things that's out of control. You know, then your legal issues. So there's a lot, and then like I said, you also dealing with solitary, you know, being confined, you know, loss of freedom, certain privileges. So it adds up a lot, and it could be just minor little things that keep building and building. So when these certain things happen, as far as and I say that because it's when you're talking about your mental health, everybody's mental health, there is a stigmatism on it. There's labels on it, and like you mentioned, and then being individual of color is it's only expected as far as something negative. But I believe no matter race, gender, shape, form, free man, uh, slave man, incarcerated man, whether whatever language you speak, we all are confined or deal with um, mental mental awareness, mental health awareness, and need to pay more attention to. So definitely when you're incarcerated, the levels are even amplified and stuff. So what are some of the ways that you believe like we could, other than because we mentioned one as far as a community support building, you know, certain programs that we probably can establish ourselves, but what are some of the other ways that can help us deal with some of these um, barriers or obstacles or you know pitfalls that we face uh, that could where we can try to overcome or maintain or solidify so that we can be more effective by the time that we come close to being released or in reentry back in society.
I mean, one of the big things is kind of social awareness. But even that, one of the major things I would say is listening to our inner voice. And there's a lot of people that don't believe in higher power, things like that. So that I just it just goes so much to say inner voice. For me, is God speaking to me. But for the viewers, it may just be the inner voice, themselves speaking to themselves. And at times, it is ourselves speaking to ourselves. When we're in situations where high anxiety, everything can feel like it's stacked against us, and
Which is
we're
as a
about
as
to
a as
explode.
as an individual color, it is on the day we're born. So you're right about that.
And in this situation, you know, we're in a sense dead to the world. Like the world has moved on and forgot about us. We become a number. Hey, when I get this appointment, what's the DOC number? Hey, when can I go to? What's your DOC number? Hey, what's your and we become conditioned to my DOC number is my name, my date of birth, my social security. So one where I would start at would kind of be just, even though we may not feel this way about everyone else treating us this way, try to humanize the people around you. I know there's a stigma like, man, this is the police, man, this is the staff, man, this is the man. These people are in the free world, but we got to try to humanize the people who are not humanizing us, because if we don't start there, we're gonna be in this whirlpool of same results, expecting something different. So really, approach determines response. I like to say we can't really trust everyone in here. Like it's just like the streets. But I say look for a group. Maybe start a support group, man. Like try to get people together to talk about these type of things, of strategies and tactics to overcome the challenges that we're facing while incarcerated, because it takes a village to raise a child, and a lot of times because we were locked up at so young of an age, we still have that child mentality,
Mm.
and we're forced into adult situations such as prison, where people don't treat you like your age. They don't treat you like how you treat yourself. It's more of they treat you systematically of how they're accustomed to treating this class of people. And that causes a lot of friction in itself. But I believe, when we start to not abide by the social norms of prison and the culture that prison has adopted, we can cause a change, or revolutionize and innovate some type of awareness to, hey, look, I'm able to do this because I participated in this program and this and that and that. So that could build some awareness towards understanding of what mental health is and why it's so important for people to acknowledge and participate in these type of programs.
That's that's well said. It's a lot said, and that's well said. I agree with it, because you definitely hit it on the head that awareness isn't just about knowing that mental health matters. It's about understanding, how to support yourself, and others in a practical day to day way, especially behind bars. And one key thing you said, that awareness is a game changer. Just the being awareness about mental health is a game changer. Awareness helps shift the perspective. Because like you said, like I mentioned before, when people say mental health, they say they basically believe like, okay, what's wrong with the person? What's wrong with you? It should really be, okay, well, what's going on? What's happening? How can I help? But one key thing you mentioned, it starts with, bringing the awareness. One key thing, bringing awareness, knowing, how you feel, how the person feels, identifying it. And then that's one way to help reduce, the stigma and start the conversation, which can be hard behind the wall because it's an abnormal environment. Prison system's an abnormal environment. Like I mentioned earlier, it's meant for security and punishment. It's not meant for or therapy or assistance or rehabilitation or anything like that. So like you did say, it starts with us. It starts with us.
And I want to, I'm looking at the time and everything. I just feel like this is a good moment to let the people know out there that's listening in on this, like, hey man, you guys should get more involved in the series. Tell us what you're thinking. Put a comment in there. Subscribe. Hit that like button. We're all for the positivity, and we're making waves out there in the prison and on the streets. We're gonna make it so where nobody's locked up one day. Nobody's gonna be able to come back into this prison system because we're gonna shut it down. How about that?
Yeah, you're right. We can be our own authors, right? We don't have to have anybody writing our books, our life books, right?
Yeah, we can do it ourselves. Activist work starts with us.
It definitely starts with us, and it's gonna end with us too. So yeah, bring awareness out there. Have people educate themselves, like you said. That's listening in. That's playing their
You have
part.
1 minute left.